Welcome into the 24/7 Sports Channel. We are happy to have you back here with us again. It is the early signing period, and we have had a live commitment for you every day. And today we've got two. It begins with Bryson Tiller, a top 20 prospect in the national class of 2025. He is 6'10" with a 7'3" wingspan, an absolute physical specimen who has continued to extend his game away from the basket, developing into a very versatile inside out type of forward big man. Let's take a look at his prospect profile. As you can see, Tiller is a 5-star prospect in the 24/7 Composite. He's ranked number 20 overall in our 24/7 sports rankings, a top 5 position, both position ranked player, as well as number 4 overall in the state of Georgia. He's an Atlanta native who stars at Overtime Elite now, as well as with the Atlanta Express and the Under Armour Association. Get a look at some of his finalists. He's been widely recruited by a long list of high major programs, but was ultimately able to narrow it down to these 4 schools. He'll be considering Auburn, Kansas, Indiana, and Georgia Tech here for today's big announcement. Without further ado, we're going to go right out to the Overtime Elite facility in Atlanta, where Bryson Tiller is joining us. Bryson, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Now, Bryson, before we get going, I want to give you a chance to introduce us to the people on either side of you here this morning.
Mm-hmm. So we got my sister, Dakota, my dad, Tony, my wife. Not my wife, my mom, Tiffany, and my sister, Bria.
There you go. Turnover. We're all right. We're going to play through it. So, Bryson, you and I have sat down, I think it's been like 3 times now, because you have been a high-profile prospect. I mean, really, since you came into high school, coming up with that Atlanta Express program. Tell me about the journey, though, because I know you're getting over an ankle injury now. There was all kinds of speculation that there were colleges trying to get you to come out last year in 2024. You've been this high-profile prospect for years now. So what has the last few years been like as you look back on it all?
It's definitely been a blessing just to go through these years. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but I just like to keep my head down and keep working and trust God with it all.
And I remember when you were an underclassman, you were already like physically ahead. You were bigger and stronger, but you've continued to grow. You recently measured in at over 6'10". And 2, you've continued to expand your game. Talk to me about the development in your skill set over the years and how you haven't just, you never just embraced like, hey, I'm going to be a big man. You said like, okay, I'm going to continue to extend my game and stretch my skill set with each passing year. Tell me about that process.
Yeah. I like to just thank my trainers for staying consistent with me. Again, like it's a lot of hard work being done behind the scenes. Obviously, I wanted to expand my game from just a normal post-up big, and I feel like I've done a pretty solid job of doing that.
Yeah, for sure. I know as you're recovering from this ankle injury, we were all able to get down there and see you during the OTE combine and watching you shoot the ball with such range off different like actions, the pick and pops and so forth. It was very clear how your game has continued to expand with each passing year. All right, Bryson, you've mentioned your family, you've talked about your trainer. But before we get to this big announcement, I want to give you a chance to thank anyone who has helped you get to this point in the process.
Yeah. First off, I want to thank God. Nothing is possible without him. I wouldn't be here today. So I want to give thanks to him. Thank you for everyone coming out and supporting me. It really means a lot. I really thank you to my family. They've always been here supporting me since day one, obviously. Thank you to my sisters for supporting me. My mom and dad for pushing me to be the greatest person I can each day.
All right. Now, this is usually the part where I say the moment is here. Where are you going to be playing your college basketball? But we got a little bit of a change up. Instead, we're going to go to a video.
My name is Bryson Tiller. This journey has been long, but a blessing at the same time. I'm excited for this next chapter, but I am nowhere near finished. I'd first like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. To my family, Bria and Dakota, thank you for always supporting me throughout this journey. To my mom and dad, thank you for pushing me to be the greatest version of myself I can be. I will never forget the lessons you all taught me.
Commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. It sounds easy, but we know it has taken intentional effort and trusting all things are working for your good. For that, I am immensely proud of you. God's responsibility is outcome and yours is obedience. So continue to dedicate your life to Him and just watch what He will do next in your life.
I'm very proud of you, Bryson, and you have come so far. It started from me coaching you in the driveway to you playing at OTE. I wish you the best and will always be here to support you with whatever decisions you make.
Throughout the years, I've seen the work you've put in, the games you've played, the practices you've had, and the countless hours in the gym. The nights you would come home tired and the mornings you would wake up to do it all over again. I'm beyond proud of you, and I can't wait to see what you accomplish next in life.
Bryson, take a moment and think, not about where you're going, but where you've been. Thank God for your journey. All of it has made you who you are today. You're an amazing person, and well, you as a basketball player, that speaks for itself. Me being proud of you is an understatement. The goal for me was always to teach you life through the game of basketball, and you've knocked it out the park at this point. Now it's time to share your gift with the world, son. You've got some amazing choices in front of you. So what's it going to be, champ? The choice is yours.
This is a very tough choice. I truly appreciate each school for their time and effort. I've always enjoyed the challenge, and that won't stop now. So next season, I'll be taking my talents to the University of Kansas.
All right, there it is. He is headed to Kansas. Bryson Tiller, a top 20 prospect in the national class. And I should mention the second overtime elite prospect of the week to commit to Kansas, joining Samis Calderon. Bryson, first of all, congratulations. Why Kansas? What was it about Bill Self and his program that made you decide that was the spot for you?
Thank you. Kansas has a rich history. They're known for putting out players in my position. So I feel like if I go there and do what I need to do, then I will have no problem being the next person up.
No doubt about it. And I know, as I mentioned, Samis is also headed there. What's that like to have a teammate headed out to Lawrence with you? I'm sure that wasn't a factor in your decision, but it's got to be an added bonus.
For sure. Me and Samis are good friends, so we know how to play off each other pretty well. And it's going to be a good experience going out there with him and winning.
Now, Bryson, I want to ask you about your time at OTE because I know you're from Atlanta, but you've spent multiple years now, and whether it's developing the added skill in your game, rehabbing from this ankle injury, the people there told me you were in the facility all summer long. Talk to me about the development that you've received at OTE and how that's going to help prepare you to play at a place like Kansas.
I like to say consistency is key. So, I mean, coming in here early every day, it just sets myself apart from many players. And I feel like that mindset is just going to develop me and get me to the next level.
All right, my last question for you. What would you tell those fans out in Lawrence, Kansas that they are getting once Bryson Tiller comes to town?
They're definitely getting a dog on both ends of the floor, and I'm just ready to get to work.
All right. Well, I don't know whether you're getting to work or you're going to celebrate right now. Either way, we thank you for doing this here with us at 247 Sports. It's been such a joy to watch you play over the years, continue to get better at each passing stage. And I should also say credit to your mom and dad for the maturity with which you have always carried yourself. You really are a leader and a role model for so many of these young guys who have to deal with this limelight at such an early age. And you've always been nothing but class. So we appreciate you and congratulate you on this big moment.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, that is Bryson Tiller off the board. Big Saturday morning news for Bill Self in Kansas. For more on this, going to bring in 247 Sports Director of Basketball, Eric Bossi, to help me break it all down. E-Boss, Bryson Tiller, he's coming close to you. What does this mean for Kansas?
They wanted a big in this class, and they have gotten that locked up. You know, they're going to lose Hunter Dickinson and KJ Adams next year. Presumably Flory Badunga is going to be back. So they wanted to find a big who could play some facing the rim, play in the post, and expand the game a little bit. And I think they're getting that in Tiller. He mentioned to me that Bill Self and his staff have compared him to the Morris twins, Markieff and Marcus. And I definitely see that comparison, having watched them come up. You know, skill-based guy, a strong guy, probably a bit more level-headed than the Morris twins, but a very good comparison in terms of game, just with what he can do. You know, I think once we see him back healthy, what I'm interested to see is just how much this added size he has helps out his game. You know, I think you and I were both pretty taken when we saw him in September at the Overtime Elite Combine with just how big of a young man he is. I mean, he's a kid in theory, but he's a full-grown man.
You know, Ebas, this reminds me, the first time I sat down with Bryson was a couple of years ago. And one of the things he told me was that he has a few different 7-footers in his family. And at the time we were saying like, all right, well, you're already done growing. Like, look, you're big and strong in an early age, but he's continued to grow a little bit. He's measured in at over 6'10". He's got this massive 7'3" wing. And then he's powerful. He's cut. So physically, he just looks in phenomenal shape. I think he's really taken advantage of the silver lining, maybe I should say, of the ankle injury has been just the opportunity to really work on his body. You talked a little bit about Hunter Dickinson. Kansas also loses KJ Adams. So they're graduating their 4 and their 5 starting men. The hope is that Flory Badunga comes back. Talk to me a little bit about how Bryson could fit next to Flory if that plan comes to fruition.
I think he fits well. This is where his ability to play facing the rim comes in handy because they'll be able to play him out of the high post, and he can make some decisions as a passer. He can knock down some mid-range jump shots. He can eventually step out and make a few more threes. You know, I know he hasn't shot the highest percentage from 3 just yet, but you and I have both seen him. He's got a very pure-looking shot. I don't think it's going to be an issue for him to become a much more consistent shooter. And we know he's a worker, and he's just a kid that you know, I think he's got a real leadership quality about him. I was taken this summer when he was out with the ankle injury. I went to watch his team, the Atlanta Express, play. It was like an 8:30 or a 9 a.m. game. And there wasn't a louder, more vocal person in the gym than Bryson on the sideline. You know, he was coaching up his teammates whenever they came to the sideline. He was bumping their chests, you know, during the game. Like, he was really, really involved, which I didn't expect to see because he's kind of a reserved kid. You know, he's not a guy who, you know, woofs a lot or anything like that, but to see him interacting like that with his teammates and then to see the way he works in an individual setting, I know this is one of those guys that's going to get on campus and do everything he needs to do to be able to get on the floor and help out immediately next year.
No doubt about it. So now this is 3 players committed to Kansas. He joined Samis Calderon, his OTE teammate that we talked about, as well as Darren Peterson, the top-ranked guard in the national class. But when we look at this KU roster, I think they've got 7 guys, maybe 8 who are out of eligibility. They've got another 2 or 3 that have NBA aspirations, whether that's after this season or somewhere else down the road. So Kansas presumably nowhere near done on the recruiting trail. And by recruiting trail, I mean both high school as well as the portal. What else can we expect for the Jayhawks here in the coming weeks and months?
We're definitely going to see them hitting the portal, and I think the priority is going to be finding a point guard. You're going to be losing DeJuan Harris finally, or after a lot of years. I think this is 6 years he's been on campus now. So DeJuan's been terrific for them. So finding a replacement for him, you know, Darren Peterson is certainly going to play a big role in that. Bill Self really likes what he can do with the ball in his hands, but you're still going to need another primary ball handler. So I think an experienced point guard in the portal is going to be the number 1 priority, and probably another big to go with Bryson and Flory.
Yeah, I would certainly agree. I think more changes coming to Lawrence, but if you're Bill Self or if you're a Jayhawk fan, you've got to be happy with the work you've done now in the early signing period. You got the number 1 guard in America. Now you've got a forward tandem out of OTE, both capable of playing multiple positions. So you're off to a really good start, knowing you've got a lot of bodies to replace before next season in Kansas. For much more on this, make sure you head on over to 247sports.com. We've got further coverage and analysis, and then you're going to want to return right here to the 247 Sports channel, 3:45 p.m. Eastern time, as Isaiah Sealy announces his commitment live on the channel. And then tomorrow, we've got Sebastian Williams-Adams, another top 40 prospect in the country, one of the most versatile defensive forwards in the country, in my opinion. It's a busy week here on 247 Sports. Make sure you're locked in with us the whole time.